It doesn't matter how you get here, just get here. Marlins Park has been the place to be. And game 2 of this series, if it's anything like game 1, you're in for a treat tonight. The first place Washington Nationals, hot on their heels. The Miami Marlins with the roof closed, the AC on. We're all dressed up with someplace to go. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz along with Tommy Hutton. Marlins capturing the first game of this series, and a chance again, Tommy, tonight to really make a statement if they can beat the Nationals 2 in a row.
Yeah, you like to make that statement, especially against the team that's ahead of you, a team that's been playing really well, the Washington Nationals. So after a win last night against them, you'd like to go out and do the same.
One of the ways the Marlins have been getting it done, and the Fish are having a record-setting month of May, the best team in baseball in the month of May. Giancarlo Stanton's hitting balls a long way, but all of a sudden he's got a little protection behind him because Logan Morrison's bat has sparked to life.
I think it's something we've talked about a while, that Giancarlo needed someone behind him. A little tweak in the hand placement, not wrapping the bat quite as much. And Logan Morrison all of a sudden has put together a nice little 3-game hit streak. Had the big home run, had a double in the ball game yesterday. That's what he's done in the last 3 games, 5 of 12. He's shown some pop. And, oh, by the way, mixed in those base hits, he had the bunt base hit that I think mentally really helped him a lot.
Okay, let's talk pitchers. 2 pretty good ones going here tonight. Anibal Sanchez and Edwin Jackson. Both managers feel good when they give the baseball to these 2 guys.
Yeah, Edwin Jackson certainly helped the Cardinals last year when he went over there to help them in their World Series stretch. 9 starts this year. He's pitched better than the 1-2 record. Anibal Sanchez, look at the ERA, 2.87. There's one other thing to look at. He's 7-0 in his career against the Nationals.
So, you ready for some baseball? Did you know there have been only 13 Colombians in the major leagues, and 2 of them are here tonight? It's an incredible story, and we've got it next. Ready for game 2. Let's go out to center field. Craig Minervini, Jeff Conine. Gentlemen,
Rich, thank you very much. Good evening again, everybody. Just a terrific story here for the Solano family. It's hard enough to make the major leagues. If you're from Columbia, it's virtually impossible, as Donovan Solano earlier on the homestand became only the 12th man. And we've got another Solano here becoming the 13th man from Columbia, his brother Jonathan.
Unbelievable. How cool would it be to be able to be to the major leagues with your brother? And the first time is here at the same ballpark together. It's really a fairy tale story.
Jonathan called up today, will make his major league debut. He's in a major league uniform at a major league game for the first time. There's Donovan. We know him from his outstanding spring training. And there is his brother, the catcher, Jonathan Solano, who hit .250, a couple of ribbies in 13 games with the Syracuse Sky Chiefs. And there's his parents here, too. That's Luis and Miriam Solano.
Flew up from Columbia just for these 2 days here tonight and tomorrow night just to see their sons play baseball. I mean, that's how cool is that?
And it's such
like you said, only 13 of them in history.
It's got to be it's far-fetched for the average kid in America to think he can make the majors, let alone two brothers from Columbia. It's a warm story. Mom's wearing the Marlin jersey tonight, and Luis told me he's in the Nats, but tomorrow night they told me they're going to switch. And we're going to try and find him during the game and talk with him. We're not sure if we'll see either one in the game, but just to be in uniform here, big stuff for the Solano family and anybody who likes a good story. All right, coming up, good matchup. Washington Nationals have been the team to beat in the NL East so far. They're 29-19. They're in first place. The Marlins, though, on their tail with the best man anybody in baseball. Game 2 is next.
Is brought to you by Toyota. Visit your local Toyota dealer today for great deals on an amazing lineup of Toyota vehicles. Toyota, moving forward. By AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. And by Sagicor. Plan a bright financial future today at SagicorLifeUSA.com. Hot and humid. That was the weather in Miami today. Marlins Park all cooled down and ready to go. And here come the Nationals. Still the pace setter in the East. 29-19. Steve Lombardozzi with a 3-hit game in Game 1. Bryce Harper, the phenom, hit second. Ryan Zimmerman drove in 2, as he always does. At third, Adam LaRoche hits cleanup. Ian Desmond, the young shortstop. Rick Ankiel in center. Corey Brown from Tampa gets a start in left. Carlos Maldonado behind the plate, and Edwin Jackson hits ninth. And Pinch a Penny, as always, brings you the first pitch, and it's a strike from Anibal Sanchez.
We've talked about the tremendous career that Sanchez has had against the Nationals.
That ball smoked down the right field line, but foul.
7-0 with a 2.10 ERA and 18 career starts. He had a no decision up in D.C. earlier this year. That was against Steven Strasburg. Went 7 innings, gave up just 5 hits and a couple runs.
Ground ball. Morrison started to his right, retreats and gets there in time. Infante has learned to wait just a little bit to let Lomo get back to first. And he makes the play. Here's the defense for the Fish.
I think he's also learned to scream, "Get back!" at first base. Coghlan, Peterson, and Stanton in the outfield. Hanley and Reyes, Infante, and Lomo still trying to get that communication line open and keep it open. John Buck is behind the plate handling Anibal Sanchez.
Bryce Harper now. The fastball is high. Marlins getting their first look at Harper in person. You couldn't avoid the Harper mania for a month as he came up to the big leagues, played well, and is fulfilling a lot of the promise that came in front of him as the #1 overall pick and the next big thing in baseball. He does not look like a 19-year-old playing this game.
No, he doesn't. Right now, he's on a nice 8-game hitting streak for the Nationals, too.
Sanchez, the 1-1. And there's a strike. It's 1-2. You'll notice just in front of the mound, there's a little bit of sunshine that is sneaking through. It will last just momentarily as the sun sets out in the west. Fastball is up. There's a peak of sunshine coming through. But certainly not bright enough to bother either the hitter, the catcher, or the umpire. Harper with the count 2-2. Ryan Zimmerman's right behind him. Nationals, Marlins on an email and Twitter Tuesday. Buck held on to it. And there are 2 outs. You want me to throw out the ceremonial first email after this pitch?
Yeah, we'll see this pitch and you can throw it out. I think the changeup, a very good one to get Harper to chase it.
Joseph in Pensacola. When and why do players use batting helmets with only one ear protector? So he wants to know how come players don't have ear protectors on both ears. Now, occasionally you will see a player that does wear both.
Usually that's a switch hitter, so he doesn't have to change helmets. You have the ear flap on the side that's exposed to the pitcher. I think when you see youngsters coming up, little leaguers have both sides. They have the helmet that has both ear flaps. But you're right, some will have 2 ear flaps, but that's a switch hitter. That way he doesn't have to worry about having 2 separate helmets.
The ear flap became mandatory, I want to say, early 80s,
in
late
the 80s.
70s. The 1-1. Popped in the air. In right, Stanton comes in, calls for it, and makes the catch. And Sanchez, a nice and tidy first inning. Headed to the bottom of the first in Miami tonight, scoreless. at Marlins Park. And inside, the Nationals and the Marlins have just begun. You're just in time for the bottom of the first. And the Marlins will send to the plate this lineup with snappy lineup music behind it. Jose Reyes at short, Omar Infante at second, Hanley Ramirez at third, Giancarlo Stanton hits cleanup, Logan Morrison right behind him, Brian Peterson's in center field, John Buck catching, Chris Coghlan out in left, and Anibal Sanchez will hit ninth. There's a look at Edwin Jackson.
For some reason, you'd think this guy's been around 15 years. He's just 28 years old.
And he delivers ball one to Reyes. You're right, he is 28. He's from Columbus, Georgia, Columbus High School. A draft pick of the Dodgers in 2001. Reyes lines that one to left center field, hits it pretty well. And back there, getting a start, is Corey Brown. Kid from Plant High School in Tampa. He makes the catch near the Nationals defensively.
Yeah, ball was hit well by Jose Reyes. Brown, Ankiel, and Harper in that outfield. Zimmerman, Ian Desmond. Steve Lombardozzi with the start tonight at second base. LaRoche at first, and Carlos Maldonado behind the plate. They right now have some catching issues, and that's why Maldonado's in there again.
Infante now. And Omar takes a strike. Omar was 0 for 4 in yesterday's ball game. The Marlins yesterday beating the Nationals, an afternoon ball game, a 5-3 final. Some big moments in that game. Giancarlo Stanton home run, a Logan Morrison home run on Memorial Day. A chance to give a Coast Guard salute to his late father on Memorial Day. And the Marlins getting a nice start from Carlos Zambrano and good bullpen. Dan Jennings, Edward Mujica, and Heath Bell. 0-2. Jackson elevates the fastball. Desmond out, Brown is in, and it's Brown who makes the catch.
Let's tell you a little bit on the scouting report of Edwin Jackson. Easy mid-90s, very easy fluid delivery, slow and deliberate as he takes his windup. And yes, last year he went 5-2 with 12 starts with the Cardinals to get himself a World Series ring. All that brought to you by Coventry Healthcare.
Hanley Ramirez had 3 hits yesterday and has upped his average to 259, and he rifles that one to left. That's deep. Off the wall. Hanley round first, on his way to second, and he's in there with a double. And no doubt Hanley is hot. Just like that, his 12th double of the season.
Yeah, just carrying over from yesterday. That fastball stayed inside. That's where a lot of pitchers try to pitch Hanley, but when he's quick and has the good timing with that leg lift, he gets to that ball, hits it just like that.
And Jackson's not an easy guy if he gets in on you with a fastball, Tommy. He throws hard.
He's got good stuff. I read a note on him that surprised the heck out of me. His average fastball last year was 94.7 miles an hour. That was third in the major leagues.
Jackson, of course, last year spent his time pitching for Ozzie Guillen and Tony La Russa. Fastball misses in to Giancarlo Stanton. Stanton, another home run yesterday. Now a dozen homers. 11 have come this month. And his RBI total has swollen to 36. He done swelled up real good.
Yeah.
Here's the one.
It's gotten real big.
Missed inside. All right, you want a big fly? Here you go.
You want a flat slider. Didn't do a whole lot. Zimmerman would like to have that pitch back.
He's got a 2-0 count with Morrison on deck. Hanley's in scoring position. 2 outs. We're just underway in Miami. And Edwin Jackson delivers. And it's in.
Hanley's base hit, by the way, Rich, is first off Edwin Jackson. He had been 0 for 7 against the right-hander. So sometimes it doesn't matter what the numbers are. If you're hot at the time of the matchup, you're going to get your hits.
Inside, and no surprise that Edwin Jackson was very cautious with Giancarlo Stanton. There's the Fox tracks. Now here comes Logan Morrison, and this is where the Marlins made progress yesterday with Morrison doubling and homering behind Stanton.
Yeah, and Jackson is a guy with really good control. He came into this game 58 2/3 innings, just 12 walks. 12 walks, 50 strikeouts. So he's normally right around the plate.
So Lomo digs in, and Jackson with a changeup that misses outside. So he's missed on 5 straight. Morrison's average up to 241, 5 doubles. Double by Hanley Ramirez, a walk to Giancarlo Stanton, and the 1-0 pitch. It's way out, and suddenly Jackson, who's only walked a dozen in 9 starts coming in, is 2-0 on Logan Morrison.
Yeah, Davey Johnson hasn't seen too much wildness from Edwin Jackson.
Jackson, who made 4 postseason starts for the world champion St. Louis Cardinals last year. He was 5-2 down the stretch for the Cardinals with an ERA of 3.5. Here's the 2-0. Morrison reaches out, pokes it. Oh, a leaping catch by Lombardozzi. Nice play by Steve Lombardozzi, and that keeps the fish off the board. And when Jackson escapes the first, still scoreless. You by H.H. Gregg. Coventry Healthcare brings you the second inning. As Anibal Sanchez is back to work, Adam LaRoche is waiting at the plate. Ian Desmond and Rick Ankiel will follow. And a changeup is pulled foul down the first base line. It's an email Twitter Tuesday. And we certainly appreciate all of you that take part. We have some good questions. This one just popped out. This is from Eric in Miami. Is Marlins Park hurricane proof since hurricane season starts this Friday? And yes, you can't build a building like this in a place like Miami if it's not up to the strictest hurricane codes. Here's the 1-1. Sanchez misses inside, and it's 2-1.
So a nice place to be. anytime.
We have a lot of Ozzie Guillen managing questions tonight, and one of them includes John Buck. That one lined into the seats. Jose in Tamarack. With John Buck not hitting, why do you think Ozzie isn't platooning him?
Well, you platoon when you have another player that swings the bat from the other side. That's a platoon. He has had Brett Hayes in games, and Hayes has had some good games. He's had some not so good games.
That liner is foul.
It'd be a little different story if you had a John Baker type, a left-handed hitting catcher.
Wouldn't it also be a different story if the Marlins were awful this month? I mean, the Marlins have the best record in Major League Baseball.
Which, by the way, I had a tweet from Jonathan about that. Marlins are looking to have their best month in franchise history. When was the month they hold the current record? That was in August of '97.
They were 19-10.
They won 19 games.
They're 19-8 here. And a swing and a miss, a long at bat, ends in a strikeout. As Adam LaRoche goes down, second strikeout for Sanchez, who has punched out 64 this year.
So the great record for the month of May has camouflaged some individuals that have not had such a great month of May.
The Major League record, what a September it was for the Giants back in 1916. They must have played a lot of doubleheaders back then. There were some rainouts early in the season. It's a fastball and a swing and a miss by Ian Desmond. But when you have a player like Buck, who defensively is still performing, but offensively is struggling, pitchers like throwing to him, he calls a good game, and you're still winning, can't you as a manager try to nurse him along and hope that he does get going offensively?
That's exactly what Ozzie's trying to do. He's working on a couple of things. He's working with his catching situation. Certainly with John Buck, you want to see his average come up and some production. And he's been working with that bullpen situation. That's why it was good to see Heath Bell have a great 1-2-3 inning, a nice save in the game yesterday.
Another emailer wanted to know, why wouldn't the Marlins send Buck down like they did Gabby Sanchez? One of the reasons why is the contract situation and service time issue, very, very different between the two. Desmond shoots that one foul into the camera well. Buck has been in the big leagues a lot longer. He has a 3-year contract. Gabby Sanchez just in his 3rd year in the big leagues. They have options to send Gabby Sanchez to the minor leagues.
And we have had a lot of emails and tweets on Gabby. Nancy, one of the tweets, wanting to know how Gabby's doing in New Orleans. He's doing quite well, and hitting 300, I think 9 or 10 games. But the area of where he's working is more patient. I think he's drawn 8 or 9 walks. His on-base percentage is over 500. So all good signs. Gabby putting things together and doing what he needs to do to get back here quickly.
Anthony in Coral Springs wants to know, when will the Marlins see Jose Fernandez, the first-round draft pick?
Well, not this year. I mean, he started in low A ball. He's still there. I doubt he'll be there all year. I would say his next stop would be in Jupiter.
Here's the 0-2 pitch. That being said, the reports that we've heard on him, and this is not from Marlin sources, but from others that have seen him pitch, are that he looks like a true top-of-the-rotation guy.
A pro scout that I talked to said that is what a pure ace is supposed to look like. That was his exact quote, and he's not a scout with the Marlins.
You know, the Marlins should face Adam LaRoche and Ian Desmond every time there's an email Twitter Tuesday, because they're fighting off pitches. They've got protracted at-bats. They're allowing us to get to as many emails and tweets as we can. This is the 9th pitch coming, and the count's only 1-2. Sanchez. This is away, 95 miles an hour. with movement. You saw that ball darted away. And that's the type of stuff that has allowed Sanchez to, on many nights in his big league career, be absolutely dominating. Little tapper out toward short. Reyes is there and quickly gets to first in time. There are 2 outs. Here comes Rick Ankiel. A reminder, as long as you're out there tweeting and emailing, there's no better way to stay connected with the Marlins than through the team's official social media channels. You can join the official Marlins conversation, be the first to receive breaking news, special offers, free prizes, and more. Like the Marlins at facebook.com/Marlins. Follow the Marlins at twitter.com/Marlins. Up the middle. Infante has it. And Sanchez mows down the Nationals in the second. Ball game. Let's check in with Allison Williams.
Hey Rich, it's an Email Twitter Tuesday, and if you've been following Logan Morrison on Twitter, you'll notice that recently he's been asking people about Greg Dobbs and calling him the most interesting man in baseball. This actually started with the coaches. Joey Cora said it first. Lomo said it's something we've always been thinking, but we finally kind of put the label on him from Joey Cora. Here's what some people have said. It's a whole knockoff after, of course, the most interesting man in the world. J. Johns 14 said he once impatiently homered from the on-deck circle during a pitching change. We also had he once hit a grand slam with the bases empty. He can assume the double play, and his headline looks like this. He comes up in the 8th and hits a walk-off home run. Now, Greg Dobbs hasn't exactly embraced the title, but he's not exactly denying it either. I asked Peterson what makes him the most interesting man in baseball, and he said it's everything. It's the way he talks. He always seems deep in thought. He's very cerebral. That was the best way they said to describe Dobbs, but the guys are having fun with it. Lomo's taking it to a whole nother level. He's having people tweet their best, most interesting man in baseball quotes, and he's awarding 10 T-shirts to the top 10. There was one that was good. It said, when he comes up to plate, God announces his name. So they're having some fun with it, and Dobbs isn't saying a whole lot about it, but the guys are enjoying it, and they'll get some free T-shirts out of it for some fans. Rich?
Thanks, Allison. Greg Dobbs has his game face on at all times. When he gets on the plane on a road trip, 10 a.m. in the morning, if he's walking through the lobby of the hotel, game face on. Brian Peterson is up. John Buck will follow. Peterson pops it into shallow left. Desmond's out, and Corey Brown is there, and he makes the catch. So Edwin Jackson has one out here in the second inning. A lot of tweets today about Juan Carlos Oviedo, and if you saw Marlins Live, you saw Craig and Niner talk about Oviedo and the 8-week suspension. Oviedo met the press this morning. Michael Hill addressed that. Marlins have welcomed him back and are happy that he is back. He will get a chance to pitch on one minor league rehab assignment, which I believe is a 16-day assignment. So he can go to extended spring, get in shape, get ready, and then in early July, he can go out on a rehab assignment and pitch in games in the minor leagues, either AA or AAA, you would expect. And then the Marlins are able to add him in July 23rd, 24th, 25th, right around there. So the closer, formerly known as Leo Nunez, happy to be back in the Marlins family. And the Marlins are happy to have him back. He's a good kid. If you've been around him, and we have for the last 3-4 years, he's a guy that you always want to root for.
And certainly, if he's back and pitching the way we know he can, he'd be a tremendous addition to the bullpen.
I think Isaac Ian said it best when he talked about that situation. Here's the 1-1. Liner into the corner. Foul. Ozzie said it best when he said, you know, you can judge what a guy like JC or Juan Carlos did in terms of going by an assumed name to help him get signed as a youngster growing up in the Dominican Republic. But he said, you have no idea what it's like to be 15 or 16 and have an adult tell you that this is the only way you're going to get to the big leagues, by doing this. And if you were 15 or 16 and you were in a situation in the Dominican Republic where you wanted to get to the big leagues, you thought that was your only way to have success, there were many, many players that have done that. We saw Wandy Rodriguez earlier this year.
It's one of those things, as kids and all of us who grew up in the United States, we can't really comprehend. We got a great tweet concerning Edwin Jackson. We'll fire it out there after this pitch.
Here's the 1-2. Ground ball up the middle. Desmond has it. Fires to first. All right, fire away.
We made mention of Edwin Jackson being drafted out of high school. What exactly does that mean? Well, he did not go to college. He was actually drafted as an outfielder by the Dodgers after his senior year in high school. He was part of the draft. And you know what? Yesterday, I'm sure, was a special day for him. His father is a retired sergeant first class in the Army. That's why Edwin Jackson was born in Germany.
And the scout that signed him, they did sign him as an outfielder, but the Dodgers knew they were going to turn him into a pitcher because they saw him throw from the outfield and liked his arm. And you talked about fastball velocity, third best in the league last year. Chris Coghlan up. Coghlan an 0 for 2 yesterday. A big sacrifice fly and a great catch in the 2-run win over the Nationals.
By the way, Rich, in John Buck's at bat, we were discussing some things, but you try to piece some good things together. He lined a ball down the left field line. He lined a ball down the right field line, and his ground ball up the middle was hit sharply. So he kind of saw a little bit of the entire field, and you want to draw a little positiveness from that at bat. Hopefully he can carry that over in his next debut.
Here's the 2-1. And it's outside to Coghlan.
I think we're seeing more confident at bats from Chris Coghlan, too, with some consistent playing time.
High pop-up infield. LaRoche gives way to Lombardozzi, and he makes the catch. And Edwin Jackson has a smooth, clean, refreshing second inning. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Miami Marlins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. Accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins. We have a poll question tonight. Which National League East city would you want to plan a vacation around? Atlanta, New York, Philadelphia, or Washington, D.C.? Standard text and data rates apply.
That's always a good question. I like to see where fans would like to travel. City, ballpark, a little bit of everything.
I would. Let's see. Boy, I'll narrow it down to two for myself. I would put New York and Washington, D.C., and right now I'm undecided. Give me a few minutes to think about it.
And you're thinking because of cities and things to do as opposed to ballparks. I mean, if you thought just ballpark, you might say Philadelphia.
I'd say Philadelphia.
But also a lot of interesting historical things to do in Philadelphia
Absolutely.
as well.
The best buzz in baseball in terms of ballpark atmosphere that we've been around the last 3-4 years has got to be Philadelphia.
Yeah, they're buzzing a little bit tonight, finding out that Roy Halladay is going to be out 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah, that's we haven't even addressed the news of the day. We ought to have a news of the day segment where we take a look at, well, the news of the day around baseball. Roy Oswalt has signed, and it's not in the National League. I think a lot of people felt when they heard that Halladay had a sore shoulder that all of a sudden the Phillies would say, all right, here's your extra $2 or $3 million, Roy. Just get in a uniform, will you? But that has not happened. Roy Oswalt has signed with the Texas Rangers, a one-year deal worth about $5 million with another $1 million in incentives. That, according to industry sources. Here's the 2-2. Great pitch.
Safe to say that Anibal Sanchez once again is locked in against the Washington Nationals.
This is Corey Brown, and Brown took a great pitch on the outside part. Toyota brings you Foxmo.
His changeup is there. His breaking ball has been there. And I think one thing when you watch Sanchez pitch, as a hitter, he gets on top of you with his fastball. He's a lot sneakier than he looks.
Carlos Maldonado is up. Maldonado takes a strike. Maldonado getting some playing time behind the plate. The injuries have hit the Washington Nationals hard, especially behind the plate. Wilson Ramos is out for the season with a knee injury and will have surgery. Jesus Flores has a hamstring tweak, and so Maldonado getting the start. Jonathan Solano called up, and if you missed it right before the game, Jonathan Solano is the older brother of the Marlins, Donovan Solano. And here they were in AAA just a week ago, and now both brothers are in a big league uniform for the very first time, and they are only the 12th and 13th natives of Colombia to get to the big leagues, and
their parents are here in attendance.
And
what
mom's
a great
got
sight.
Mom's got the
Yeah.
Marlins jersey on, Dad's got the Nationals jersey on.
And I think I heard tomorrow they're going to switch. Dad's going to go Marlins, Mom's going to go Nationals.
And of course, the Marlins have a nice connection to Colombia, with Edgar Renteria being a World Series hero. He's one of the few Colombians to get here. Maybe the best known. The fans up there throwing the bat back. You saw the fan wave.
I think the bat, did it go into the dugout or into the stands?
Well, he's happy to have his bat back. Sanchez, 2-2. And it's down low. Barranquilla, Colombia. And there is Jonathan,
who is a catcher.
It's outside. Sanchez missing. Not sure if he was upset at Dan Iasonia, the home plate umpire, or at himself.
I got a nice tweet here from Jonathan. Wants to know what happened to the people who put up the cue for the quick outs. Is there any place, or would there be any place in the new ballpark here to do that?
I just picture them right now sitting at Sun Life, listening to the game on the radio, hanging up some cues. Not sure. Edwin Jackson trying to bunt, and he fouls it back. There is a K meter here, multicolored.
So the backwards K there, that's looking. A lot of people do that. I don't do that in my scorebook. Do you do that?
I do. How do you differentiate?
I just put K and then a small L. I can't write a backward K. I used to sit at home practicing that when I learned to keep score.
So you should have gone to broadcasting school. They teach you that. Out in the outfield goes Infante. Stanton is in as well, and Infante makes the catch. Maldonado holds first. Edwin Jackson is retired. And here comes Steve Lombardozzi. See, I'm telling you, first semester of broadcasting school or your broadcasting major.
Yeah, the backwards K exercise.
Ask Craig. He went to Syracuse. I think they worked on the reading the disclaimer was a course, and the backwards K.
The exercise, yeah.
Here is Steve Lombardozzi. He had 3 hits yesterday. Other news, Halliday's shoulder is strained, and he's on the disabled list. A grade, what is it, 1.2, a grade 1 or 2 strain of his right lat. No activity for 3 weeks. Phillies are hopeful that 6 to 8 weeks later he'll be back.
The Marlins would have seen Halladay in the weekend series up in Philadelphia.
Speaking of guys the Marlins may see, Dustin Pedroia's thumb is an issue. He went in for a second MRI on the right thumb. And the Red Sox saying that they'll have no official word for another day or two. No official diagnosis has been made yet. But the Marlins see the Red Sox 6 times in the month of June, just like the Rays. Here's the 1-2. Sanchez trying to throw that slider and catch the outside corner. The Dodgers activated Matt Kemp from the disabled list. 2-2. The Angels had to place Jared Weaver on the DL for a strained back. And that's your news of the day.
Frank wants to know if Bark in the Park is going to be revisited. Bark in the Park night, and there will be 2 Bark in the Park nights. June 10th against the Rays, July 29th against San Diego. So alive and well is Bark at the Park.
Counts 2-2. I'll tell you one thing, the Nationals haven't scored any runs, but they have made Anibal Sanchez work in this ball game. Here he is, 51 pitches in, and a roller slowly hit. Infante has it, flipped to first, and the Nationals retired here in the 3rd. Marlins Park here in Miami. And a great place to watch the game is from the Fiesta Suites. If you've got a group and you want to give them true VIP treatment, that's the place to go. Fiesta Suites offer the suite experience on a single game basis and feature an all-inclusive menu, premium seats, flat screen TVs, air-conditioned comfort, and more. 1-877 Marlins. There they are, out in right field, the Fiesta Suites. Great place for a birthday party, for a bar mitzvah, bat mitzvah, social gathering. Anibal Sanchez for the Fish into the bottom of the third, a scoreless game. Sanchez then the top of the order. Jose Reyes and Omar Infante. That would be a strike.
Edwin Jackson, also the author of a no-hitter.
So you got two guys who have thrown no-hitters facing each other here.
Through the no-hitter against the Rays when he was pitching for Arizona.
Tommy, we take emails, we take tweets. And
sure.
Every now and then we get a note from a fan that neither tweets nor emails.
And we appreciate those.
But this fan has outstanding handwriting, I might add. Dear Rich and Tommy, I am 75 years young, but I have a hard time with the fast instructions for Ask the Marlins. I am unable to locate it, so instead I've written to you the old-fashioned way. A few weeks ago you said you were going to try to contact or find Alfredo Amezaga. I hope he is well. He has always been one of my favorite players. I've been to 3 games so far this year. The ballpark is outstanding, to say the least. TV does not do it justice. You must alert viewers, Reyes runs up, that you can see the game close from any seat in the ballpark. And you can park outside the park in a large lot for just $15, no advance payment required, day of game. This fan is 3 for 3 in that lot so far in the 3 games. Thanks for doing a great job and enjoy it. P.S. Don't forget to answer my question about Amezaga.
I was going to say, what was the question?
Anthony. There's a nice note from Anthony and David.
Thanks, Anthony.
Here's the 1-1. That ball's hit to right. Harper started back and now comes in. All right, let's get the crack staff on it. Let's try to find Amezaga. Last we saw, I believe he was in AAA.
And certainly always one of our favorites. As a former Marlin, Alfredo Amezaga had so much fun, brought a lot of energy to the ballpark every day.
And he had a return engagement last year, remember? For like 3 weeks, it was Amezaga time.
He just really had a hard time coming back from that micro fracture of the knee. Just a tough injury. And for a guy who's somewhat of a speedster and relied on that as part of his game, it was tough to see him not at 100%.
Yeah, that microfracture surgery is not easy. Ask Carlos Beltran on that. He's in AAA, is Alfredo Amezaga, in Iowa. He's hitting .296, his on-base percentage .338. Infante sends it out to center field. Here's the part you'll like, Tommy. He's hit 3 homers already this year and stolen 4 bases. There's your Alfredo Amezaga update on an email and Twitter Tuesday.
Brian Peterson calls it dead manning. Andre Dawson says every center fielder needs to do this. He said he didn't learn it until he got to the big leagues, and what it is turning your head away from the ball when it's hit over your head, and you've got to run to get it, because he said you can't get there faster any other way. Take your head away like Petey did the other night, then run as hard as you can and try to make a play. Now, one thing Brian Peterson told me about this play the other night, by the way, which Buster Posey hit, was he felt he should have caught the ball, though it was tough. But he said one thing I found out here about playing is that normally when you look up to the sky, you see blue in the daytime or dark at night. He said here you got to deal with a lot of varies of gray lights with the roof. It's a little tougher to pick up. And on that play, he said, I had trouble when I looked at the videotape. I realized I wasn't close to it. It's a nice backhand by Reyes. Gets the youngster Bryce Harper on the play. He said, I wasn't close to it. I thought I was much closer, but I picked the spot, but I was off target. But he calls it dead manning, which is something nobody's really heard of. He said, we came up with that in college, we guess, because you kind of feel like a dead man when you take your eye off the ball.
Craig and Tommy, it's a, and Craig makes a great point, as Petey pointed out, in a building with a roof on it, that's not an easy thing to do. This has a better background than many of the dome stadiums that you played in your era. The Kingdome in Seattle, the Metrodome in Minneapolis, Sky Dome in Toronto.
Yeah, I think this is much more constant when you look up. And I think as a home team, this is where the Marlins can take advantage, and the outfielders should get used to it.
And guys, what Petey said is that is really important when it's hit right over your head. If it's left or right, occasionally you can kind of keep an eye on it and run. But Andre Dawson says there's no way you're going to get there until you put that head down in terms of speed. And he said that's something he worked with Peterson on in spring training. And Petey said he's very comfortable doing it, but really necessary on the shot right over your head. Of course, as you mentioned, Rich, the other night, normally when you go 410 feet, it's not a playable ball. In this park, very often it is for center fielder.
That's a good point. It's you're not used to turning running that far.
You know, Marlins outfielder we used to see do that with ease. Cody Ross. Put his head down, run right to the spot, and all of a sudden the ball would be right there.
Devon White was pretty good out there,
Yes, he
too.
was.
Ryan Zimmerman up. One out in the fourth. Anibal Sanchez has been sharp in this one. Little tapper. Sanchez is going to take it himself and step on the bag. And so Sanchi looking sharp, throwing strikes in a scoreless ball game. AT&T trivia question. Who's the only Washington National voted to start an All-Star game? Well, your first thought would be Ryan Zimmerman, right?
He's been there. He's been an All-Star. But then another thought would be somebody who maybe...
How about Alfonso Soriano?
Soriano?
His 1 year in Washington.
Hey, you know, he was a 40-40 guy that year.
That's right.
There's a good chance there. Hey, while we have a chance, too, we need to send out our birthday wishes to Hugo, a.k.a. Juice. The Marlins barber. So happy birthday, Hugo.
Hugo right now is leading the voting online for team barbers for the All-Star game. Breaking ball is a strike. And it's 1-2. LaRoche a strikeout victim in the second. 1-2 coming. And Sanchez misses in. And it's amazing, you watch sometimes a pitch like that and you look at the speed and you're thinking it was a cutter or something that was in the upper 80s. And for Sanchez, it's 94, 95, sometimes even 96.
And he comes back with a nice changeup. Beauty.
Infante, who was in the middle of that shift, gets the ground ball, and Sanchez is cruising right now. is brought to you by the Florida Department of Transportation. Drive sober or get pulled over. By 800-NEED-HELP. Accident, slip, or fall, one call, that's all. 1-800-NEED-HELP. That's 800-633-3435. And by Bennett Auto Supply, our prices bring you in, and our people bring you back. You never know when you're going to need life vests, and these fans, just in case they have to go into the Clevelander, into the pool.
Maybe to rescue a damsel in distress.
One of the dancers may have slipped and fallen.
Yeah.
Of course, then they would have called 1-800. No. Here's Hanley Ramirez, Giancarlo Stanton, Logan Morrison. Edwin Jackson up and in. We told you at the outset of the telecast that Edwin Jackson and Anibal Sanchez on any given night will have no-hit stuff. Jackson and Sanchez both have thrown no-hitters. There's one hit in this ball game in the bottom of the fourth, and it belongs to the man at the plate, Hanley Ramirez. He doubled back in the first.
Well, you mentioned, Rich, certainly a guy who knows him is Ozzie Guillen. In the first part of the year, last year, 19 starts with the White Sox, pitching for Ozzie.
And here's the constant for the two managers that he pitched for last year, Ozzie and Tony La Russa. They both absolutely love him. La Russa, when we saw him in Washington, was there to present the World Series ring, and told us he was a great addition and loved having him on his team. And Ozzie said the same thing. He pitched for a season and a half with the White Sox. Here's the 2-1 to Hamlet. And it's down low. And he's also a guy that, as you look at his resume, drafted by the Dodgers, traded to the Rays, traded to Detroit, 3-team deal, that Arizona Yankee Detroit trade, then gets traded to Toronto and flipped to the White Sox. Fastball misses in. And now signs with the Nationals, and he signed for good money. 1 year, $11 million. Nationals wanted a veteran in that rotation to go with the talented youngsters of Gio Gonzalez, Steven Strasburg, Jordan Zimmerman. And not only do they have Edwin Jackson, but tomorrow night they will be adding Chin-Ming Wong.
I think Jackson had an opportunity to sign with a couple of other teams a multi-year deal, but chose the 1-year deal with the Nationals.
Hanley's at first, and Jackson goes over.
Now, Jackson actually made his major league debut when he was 20 years old, back in September of '03.
It's an interesting dynamic here with Hanley at first. You'd love to see Hanley steal second. The Nationals, though, were obviously pitching around Stanton with Hanley at second and 2 outs in the first. Jackson walked him on 4 pitches. He throws a strike here, and it's 0-1. Jackson has a pair of walks, 1 strikeout. Stanton, a monster May, and he's not done yet. 11 homers this month. And now Jackson's going right after him, and Stanton
kind of surprised Giancarlo.
Finds himself behind in the count 0-2.
Sometimes you outthink yourself, and then you're surprised at that pitch that's a pretty good pitch to hit.
That has to be a real mental game.
Almost a slip there by Hanley, who we've talked about over the years does not like to dive back to first base because of the shoulder problems. But that time, stepping back to the bag, the spikes slipped off the bag, and he almost lost his balance.
Not a big lead. And Stanton takes high. The mental game of being Prince Fielder, Albert Pujols, I mean, the slugger that you don't want to pitch to, Giancarlo Stanton is now getting to that point where pitchers are going to toy with him. Is he pitching around me, or am I going to get something to hit? That's a true test of patience.
And it's a test of a young hitter, 22 years old, adjusting and learning.
Edwin Jackson's in front 1-2.
I had read, Rich, a note on Edwin Jackson, but you and I, with the exception of Mark Burley, we usually don't talk to the starting pitcher that day. So hopefully I'll get a chance to ask Jackson tomorrow. But when he made that major league start, his first major league start with the Dodgers on his 20th birthday, he'd only been to 2 major league games prior to that, and they were Marlins games in 2001. So I'm curious to ask him if he has any memories of those 01 Marlins games that he went to.
Two coming. High fly ball. Ankiel wandering and makes the catch. And so Stanton just getting under it. There's one out. Here comes Logan Morris, and here comes our trivia answer.
I'm going to go with Soriano. Who do you like?
Well, that's the guy I threw out too. So I think we're both.
I like Soriano.
Alfonso Soriano. The game was played in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, he had that year where the 1 year, and I remember at RFK people said, "Oh, he's not going to hit the home runs the way he's been hitting home runs," and he had a 40-40 year, 40 home runs, 40 stolen bases, and then signed that monster contract that the Cubs, I think, still regret.
Morrison, fastball, a strike. There have been a few fans who have already tweeted that they feel that I've jinxed things tonight by saying the word no-hitter. And
I believe you said no-hit stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I really jinxed Roy Halladay that night when I said he had a perfect game going. And in 06, when Anibal threw his no-hitter, I really jinxed him that night too. Morrison into center. Ankiel is there. I think the announcer that had probably the best perspective on that is the Hall of Famer Vin Scully, because people asked Vin Scully, "Hey, would you say those words if there was a no-hitter or a perfect game going?" And Vin Scully says, "I have," and he's called maybe more than anybody.
Probably more than anybody, yeah.
And Scully said it best. He said, "Look, I owe it to the people that have just tuned in. I owe it to the people who are televising the game. You want to build an audience, and if you're quiet about it, how do people know if they're just coming in and out, which people are these days in television?" There's a fastball for a strike.
I mean, if you don't mention it, somebody may flip over to an old rerun of SVU, Law and Order. You never know.
It's a great point. Is that on right now?
It's on all the time.
Hanley's away from first. And Peterson takes outside. Now I think obviously things change. Now that it's no longer Stanton at the plate. And you would like to see if Hanley does get a jump to see him try to steal second. He's swiped 9 bases this year. He's been caught twice.
I think you take a shot, certainly right here. Marlins with 58 stolen bases.
Peterson kind of shaking his head at that call that counts 1 and 2. And that's why he was shaking his head. That was pitch number 3. That's one of the tough things about being a young player in the major leagues. I mean, and a young player not named Bryce Harper or Giancarlo Stanton, you're not going to get the benefit of the strike zone until you have established yourself or have a reputation that comes before you. Hanley's running on the 1-2 pitch. It's up, and the throw is not nearly in time. It's been a very good year for Hanley in terms of base running. He has stayed healthy. He has swiped 10 of 12 now.
Good acceleration there. Really looked like Maldonado got rid of that ball in a hurry, had something on the throw, but Hanley pretty easily stole that bag and stayed on it. Front foot came off. He slid over it, but the hand stayed on the bag.
The count's 2-2. And now Peterson deep in this at bat as a runner in scoring position. Edwin Jackson. Fastball, fly ball, left field. And Brown is there and makes the catch. Marlins leave a runner in scoring position, still scoreless. Headed to the 5th. Hits are scarce with the Nationals and the Marlins. Let's check in with Allison Williams. A-Dub?
Hey, Rich, I hope everybody had a happy and enjoyable Memorial Day yesterday. And for Miami sports fan, it was a pretty good day. You could do a double header watching the Marlins take on the Nationals in the afternoon, and then you could head over to the AAA to watch the Heat take on the Celtics in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Both of the local teams winning, but Steve Cishek not rooting for the Heat. He says, sorry, Marlins Heat fans, I got to go to the game with my Allen jersey. Still love Miami, though. And Cishek, a Massachusetts native, so staying true to his roots by cheering on the Celtics. I have a feeling, though, if the Heat win, he will root for them in the NBA Finals. And he may have been in the minority as a Celtics fan, but in the majority being there at the game, a lot of the Marlins players headed over to watch the game. Ricky Nolasco and Giancarlo Stanton courtside with owner Jeffrey Loria and several others in attendance as well. Rich?
You're right, Allison. A lot of the Marlins were well represented at Game 1 last night. Ian Desmond lining a single to left. And here is Rick Ankiel with Corey Brown up. Sanchez fires to first. Desmond is back. Second base runner for the Nationals.
So we can say then, I guess, that Allison jinxed Anibal Sanchez.
There's no jinx. Come on.
I understand that. I think JJ and Austin Kearns were at the Heat game as well.
By the way, James tweets, Tommy, you're right. Law and Order SVU is on USA Network right now.
Thanks for checking.
Runner bluffs. Sanchez throws a strike on the outside corner. Ankiel bounced to second. There's a look at Desmond. He swiped 5 bases. The Marlins are above and beyond anybody in baseball in stolen bases right now. I mean, the Fish have run wild. Hanley's stolen base is the Marlins' 59th of the season. The next closest in all of baseball are the Rays with 44. That's a strike, and it's 0-2.
This is a situation, too, when you have two pitchers working this way. Anytime you get a base runner, and certainly a leadoff runner, as the Nationals have got here, you try to look for something. Not anything's going to happen here with the count 0-2, because you get the feeling if you're Ozzie or you're Davey Johnson, it's going to be a low-scoring game.
Randy St. Clair, Ozzie Guillen. And a scoreless game in Miami. Ian Desmond with a leadoff single in the 5th. Marlin infield looks for 2. Reyes over towards the bag, and a move in which Desmond, I think, hesitated a bit. That's James Hoy umpiring at first. Jim Joyce is at second, and Jim Reynolds is at third. I wonder if Jim Joyce's out call at second is as vocal as his strike call behind the plate.
Yeah, we'll not hear the strike call of Jim Joyce in this series. He'll move over to first base tomorrow night, and then we'll all move out of here.
That's right. Headed to Philadelphia this weekend. Be interesting to see what the Phillies rotation sets up like in the weekend series. Pitches outside. Finn's pride. Why is Anibal Sanchez the 5th starter? He surely is not the 5th best pitcher on the Marlins. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Sanchez had an issue where he missed a start or two in spring training.
He's a little, I don't want to say a lot, just a little behind everybody in spring training.
And so that's why he was the number 5. Desmond's running, pitches high, Buck's throw into the runner and into center field. Peterson has it, and Desmond ends up at third base. John Buck threw high and wide to second.
Yeah, the stolen base hurts, but the error hurts even more. I mean, it's one thing to have that runner at second base, but the throw really sails. Reyes can't get beyond the runner to get the glove on the ball, and all of a sudden Desmond ends up at third base.
Infield's back, 3-2 coming to Ankiel. Oh, gorgeous changeup. 83 miles an hour. He's been throwing fastballs, sliders, and every now and then a changeup, and that was a perfect time to break it out.
Arm action says fastball, ball speed says changeup, and really had Ankiel fooled.
Now the Marlins, and there's pitch number 6. Now the Marlins infield is going to come in. And you think, especially the other day against the Giants, the Marlins sniffed out a squeeze and pitched out on the right time to get the runner. This is Brown. Corey from the Tampa area said some family may be coming over tomorrow. A lot of his brothers maybe headed up to D.C. to catch the next homestand now that he's been called up. He starred at Oklahoma State. Everybody in. Sanchez to the plate, and it's up. There's Desmond at third. 1 out, scoreless game in the 5th. Squeezes on. Brown gets it down. Buck picks it up and gets the out at first.
Well, we talk about putting plays on and doing things when you're in a close ball game. So you had the feeling it was in the back of Davey Johnson's mind. Pulled off perfectly. Great execution. The timing was good from Desmond. The runner at third didn't leave too soon. You don't want to leave before the pitcher releases the ball, because then the pitcher can change the direction of where he throws the ball. And give credit to Corey Brown, dropped down a beautiful bunt.
Here's Maldonado, and he fouls it at the plate. There are 2 outs. Maldonado walked back in the 3rd. A walk, a hit, a run against Sanchez. And he misses up high. One and two the count.
Well, we've told you how well over the years Sanchez has pitched against the Nationals. A lot of no decisions, though. 18 career starts and a 7-0 record. And up in D.C. in April, gave up just 2 runs in 7 innings, solo home runs. Ian Desmond and Jason Worth.
Full count. Remember, Sanchez walked Maldonado earlier. Slow roller. Hanley approaches and throws on the run in time. Sanchez gives up a run, a hit, a throwing error by John Buck. Leads to a 1-0 Nationals lead.
Español es presentado en SAP por Coventry Healthcare of Florida.
On an email and Twitter Tuesday right now, the Nationals have a 1-0 lead. Tommy, you have a tweet.
Yeah, from Lawrence talking about it. At the World Series, there are all kinds of cameras to capture the game. How many FS Florida cameras are the Marlins using in a game?
All right, there's one.
There's one.
There's two.
2.
3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. That's a camera shooting a camera.
9.
Hey, there's us. That's
Hey.
9. There's 9. There's 10. There's 11. Do we have Clevelander Cam in operation? And is that 12 right there? I don't think we've seen that shot. There's Clevelander Cam. Hello.
There's 12. So, Lawrence, there's your answer. A lot of coverage.
I like 12. John Buck now with Chris Coghlan, Anibal Sanchez against Edwin Jackson. Buck off the end of his bat, and that one towards LaRoche. 1 pitch, 1 out for Edwin Jackson. It's one of the things that Jackson has done really well this year. is pitch to contact. His pitch count per inning is one of the lowest in baseball. He's averaging just under 14 pitches an inning.
Well, right now, Rich, his pitch count in a lot better shape than Anibal Sanchez. Sanchez with 81, and Jackson has thrown just 56 to this point.
The only starter that is more economical than Jackson in the National League is Clayton Kershaw.
Which is, it's interesting because he has 50 strikeouts, got 51, one tonight. Usually a guy with strikeouts in that area, the pitch count's going to be a little higher. Usually the low pitch count guys are the sinker ballers.
Got a good email from Robert in Palm Bay. Remember, we were talking about Brian Peterson not getting the benefit of a lot of calls early in his big league career. Robert says the notion that umpires give established players the benefit of the doubt as to balls and strikes should be eliminated from the game. A ball is a ball and a strike is a strike according to the rule book. If an umpire is so inclined to call a strike a ball or a ball a strike due to which player is at bat or which player is throwing the ball, he should be replaced by one who will do the job he is paid to do regardless of the circumstance. Now, you know, I like the email, but
yeah,
here's a ground ball to second. But I don't think it's intentional by the umpire. I don't think the umpire goes out and says,
no, they don't.
You're Brian Peterson and you're not getting this call just because you're Brian Peterson. Check back with me in 5 years and maybe I'll give it to you. But I think it happens in other sports as well. It happens in the NBA. I mean, you can't tell me it doesn't happen with a Kobe Bryant or a Dwayne Wade. I don't know enough about the NHL.
Well, if you think back to the glory days of the Braves and the Smoltz and Glavine and Maddox, hey, if it's a borderline pitch, those guys probably were going to get the call compared to who the batter was. But the email is correct, and I totally agree. Umpires don't make that decision before. It's a subliminal thought sometimes, but they don't go out there purposely saying, well, I'm going to give this guy a little more benefit because he's been in the league 10 years and this guy is a rookie this year.
It's one of the better emails we've had tonight. How's camera 12 doing? Here's the 0-2 to Anibal Sanchez. He tries to bunt and fouls it back. And it's inning over. That would be a strikeout. Don't often see that, a foul bunt to finish an inning. Just for Men Auto Stop Foolproof Stat. Steve Lombardozzi 3 for 4 yesterday, his 9th multi-hit game. And of course we talked about his father. Just as the Nationals can count on Lombardozzi, you can count on Just for Men Auto Stop for foolproof
results.
It's an opportunity, and I'm sure any ball would like to have a few quick outs in this inning. He goes after Edwin Jackson. We told you he was drafted by the Dodgers as an outfielder. He actually, in rookie ball, his very first year, they'd let him DH a lot of the games that he didn't pitch. So there's a quick out. I guess I didn't jinx that.
Yeah, way to go, Hud. Tico presents the National League East standings. The Marlins and the Mets are 2.5 behind these Nationals. Atlanta and Philadelphia are 4 back. There was a note going into yesterday's play that the National League East's winning percentage going into yesterday was the highest winning percentage by any division at that point of the season since 1997. And that was the all-time record, and that again was the National League East in 1997. So the 97 National League East and the 2012 National League East going into play yesterday had the 2 highest winning percentages ever for a division at that point of the season. That's pretty mundane stuff compared to camera 12, isn't it? All right, the next Marlins watch party is coming up on Friday, June 1st at Sports Zone 84 Bar and Grill in Fort Lauderdale. See the Marlins and the Phillies at 7:05, win prizes, meet Billy and the Energy team, and take advantage of great Coors Light specials at Sports Zone 84 Bar and Grill in Fort Lauderdale. Anibal Sanchez now getting Bryce Harper, who gets into one to right center field. That is deep. Peterson goes back at the track, reaches, and did he make it? No. Has the ball, flips it to Stanton. Peterson's in trouble and is hurt. The ball gets back to the infield. Peterson trying to get back to his feet. Brian Peterson in full flight, running hard into the wall after that Bryce Harper triple.
Boy, this ball was hit well. It looked like Peterson arrived to try to make the catch right at the same time the ball did. He took a peek, and then he knew that wall was right there. He's able to flip it. Good heads-up play by Giancarlo to get there and help him out. But Petey crashes into that wall with that left shoulder and then flips the ball to Stanton. For Bryce Harper, a triple for him. That's a 9-game hitting streak. That's his 4th triple already. You can see where Peterson is rubbing in that ribcage area up on the left side.
And we saw it earlier. Craig pointed out the Buster Posey ball that Peterson was trying to run down. It's when you have a ballpark that's this deep, it's hard for a center fielder to get to the wall and set himself to make a leap and a try, because in this park and in those 2 cases, he's in full flight when he gets there.
Yeah, there's a long way to go. Most parks, this is probably going to be a home run. And the other thing we talked about earlier in the year, and I think the Marlins outfielders are getting a little more used to it, the warning track has a little more depth to it than a lot of other ballparks. So you, instead of a 3-step track, it might be a 4.5-step track. Once you get there, you know the wall's coming up.
There are 2 outs. It's the 6th. Ozzie Guillen back to the dugout. Peterson stays in the ball game. And here's Ryan Zimmerman.
Not an easy center field to play. And I think we're learning that as we see more games here.
And a big moment here for the Nationals and for the Fish. Sanchez trying to get Ryan Zimmerman. With Bryce Harper at 3rd and 2 outs in a 1-0 game. The Nationals getting their run in the 5th. A single by Ian Desmond, a stolen base, a throwing error by John Buck, and a squeeze bunt by Tampa's own Corey Brown.
So an unearned run, the only run of the game.
There haven't been a lot of base runners. The Marlins have left 3. The Nationals have left just 1. 2-0 to Zimmerman. Zimmerman, the king of the holiday homer and walk-off hit He has a long line of Mother's Day, Father's Day, 4th of July. And yesterday on Memorial Day, he had a 2-run double. And that looked like that could be the game-winning hit until Stanton tied it with a homer, and the Marlins went on to win it. Check swing, roller up the line, and it ends up foul.
We have talked about this. I'll get this tweet in from Jorge. Jorge wants to know, will you and I ever broadcast a game from the Clevelander wearing our shorts and Tommy Bahama shirts?
That's the plan for the Fox Sports fantasy auction in August.
Be kind of right in this area, right in here.
Oh, really? I was kind of hoping for back by the pool. Back where camera 12 is.
Rich, we have a game to do.
Here's the 2-2. It's all for the kids, Tommy. Full count. Harper's at third. Sanchez working on the gum and working on Ryan Zimmerman. And it's 3-2. Off speed, ground ball. It's Reyes. He threw a changeup to Ryan Zimmerman and got him to ground out on the 3-2 pitch. There's camera 12 for you, kids. And the Marlins have got a Clevelander package for you. Experience the game from field level seats with poolside bar and grill. And you can book your group today. 1-877-MARLINS. Marlins.com. It's home of camera 12. The most popular camera we have tonight. It's the Clevelander. It's a one-of-a-kind Miami experience. Baseball, party, pool, terrific drinks, and eats, great appetizers. In fact, they're about due to send us some food. Maybe tomorrow night. 1-0, top of the order.
It's a great opportunity here. And certainly Edwin Jackson has limited the Marlins opportunities. Just one base hit, Hanley's double in the first inning. But top of the order, getting things started, Jose Reyes.
Reyes, Omar Infante, and Hanley Ramirez against Edwin Jackson. Both teams having trouble scoring tonight. Nissan presents leaders of the game. Bryce Harper has extended his hit streak to 9. Reyes is 0 for 2. He's lined out and flied out. He knocks that one foul. We've had this question many times, Ben. in Miami Beach. What are the ground rules if a ball hits the roof or part of the roof, the steel girders above? Here's the 2-2 pitch. The ground rules, as we read them, if a ball strikes something on the roof in fair territory, it's a live ball. If it's in foul territory, it's a dead ball. Ground ball up the middle. Desmond to his left. And the shortstop from Sarasota getting smoother and smoother with age.
One thing that Jackson has done, and you pointed it out last inning, going into facing Jose Reyes, he'd thrown 5 pitches or less to every hitter except Logan Morrison, one at bat. He threw him 6.
Here's Infante. Infante left field. That ball's deep. Back goes Brown. Off the wall. Infante to second. Wow. It looked like that one was headed out of here. And off the wall, it's a double. About 385 feet from home plate. Even Infante is looking out there.
Yeah, I think he thought, and yes, in most ballparks, a mistake by Jackson. He hasn't made many. Pitch was up. Infante thought, yeah, this one's in the Clevelander, 2 or 3 rows back, but it was off that fence. A 1-out double, and Infante has hit, along with Reyes and Hanley and Giancarlo, they've all hit over 300 at home. Came into this game hitting 315 in this ballpark.
So a few feet from a tie game. And now Hanley Ramirez, who has doubled and walked.
But you can look at it this way. It might not have been a tie game because Harper's ball probably would have been out in a lot of parks.
Two hits apiece for both teams. Hanley checks his swing on a breaking ball. Did not go. And it's 1-0. There's Infante. Both Marlin hits have been doubles tonight. Hanley, who doubled down the left field line back in the first. Hanley drives it to center. Infante starts towards third. Now has to hustle back, and he just gets there. The ball is thrown away, and here comes Infante to third. Two outs. Infante is 90 feet away.
Hanley hit this ball so well it carried to Ankiel, who got a great jump. Almost doubled off Infante, but then threw it away. And as he threw that ball away, Infante alertly picked it up, saw where the ball was, and got over to third base. That'll be an error charged to Rick Ankiel.
And here's another one of those at-bats where if you're Giancarlo Stanton, you have to try to figure out, is he pitching to me? Is he pitching around me? Edwin Jackson pitched around him in the first, walked him on 4 pitches, got him to hit a fly ball to deep center his next time up.
I'll tell you, that fly ball he hit in the 4th inning, monstrous shot. He just got under it. One of those, had he connected on just right, would have been near the sculpture.
In a ball and a strike.
The Marlins scored 3 runs, 2 on the big home run by Stanton yesterday in the 6th inning.
And remember, the Marlins had runners first and second when Morrison hit a soft liner that was just snared by Lombardozzi in the first that saved a run. Line drive. Base hit. This game's tied. Stanton around first has got himself an RBI double, his 14th double, and it's 1-1. Ozzie Guillen said today what makes Giancarlo Stanton so dangerous right now is the fact that he's hitting doubles and singles as well as home runs.
You know what, Rich? Ozzie may have said, Mike, he doesn't care. He just wants RBIs, production, and I think a lot of that goes into the fact that Logan Morrison is swinging the bat better because he's hitting behind Giancarlo right now. But he knows he can drive in runs without always having to hit home runs.
It's our Warren Henry drive of the day. Here's your dollar. And here's Morrison. Morrison is lined out, flied out. Jackson misses away, and it's 1-0. The Marlins get to Edwin Jackson, who is still relatively fresh, 76 pitches, working here in the bottom of the 6th. That's out. You wonder if Edwin Jackson is thinking to himself, how does Brian Peterson's shoulder feel? First base is open and Peterson's on deck.
How's it going to affect his swing? I would think, and certainly you don't want to hurt the ball club and not be able to swing. I'm sure Peterson went up in the runway. There's a batting tee. Maybe make sure he could swing. Everything was all right.
Jackson has pitched cautiously to Morrison so far. The 2-0. That's up and out.
He hasn't given him anything to hit.
And it doesn't look like he is going to give him anything to hit. So
two things to think about with Peterson. We've seen him a couple of times jump on high fastballs. And if Jackson tries to go upstairs with him, Peterson, who's working on a 6-game hitting streak, has hit that high fastball.
Jackson dots the black with that fastball.
Yeah, I'm not so sure that was a fastball. Something off speed. Might have been a changeup, but it's 86. But I don't think Lomo's seen a fastball yet.
Giancarlo Stanton has tied the game. And he stays away, away, away. Morrison's aboard, and we're about to find out how that shoulder is of Brian Peterson's. Of course, Ozzie Guillen doesn't have a whole lot of bench depth. He doesn't have his full complement of players that he's accustomed to having, with Gabby Sanchez being down in AAA, Austin Kearns being on the disabled list.
I mean, you think about the bench. The most experienced is Greg Dobbs, left-handed bat, but then Brett Hayes, Donnie Murphy, Donovan Solano, Justin Ruggiano.
Jackson comes after Peterson. Ground ball. LaRoche sucks it up and flips to Jackson to get the out. Petey had a good swing on it. LaRoche made a nice play. The Marlins tie the game. A pair of doubles. Omar Infante and Giancarlo Stanton. And Anibal Sanchez on an email Twitter Tuesday. We check in with our social media Contessa, Allison Williams. Hey, A-Dub.
Rich, I have a tweet for you that I know you will very much like. I think Rich will as well. We always talk about our crack staff. You know how much we love them. They are fabulous. How about this t-shirt from Stephanie Ayers, Steph05257? My friend and I designed this shirt for you guys. What do you think for the crack staff? Pretty cool. I like it very much. I'm sure you guys do too. We've talked before about doing something with the t-shirts, maybe for a charity. I know, Rich, you've mentioned that before, and that could be your shirt. What do you think?
I like it. Where do we get our hands on crack staff shirts?
We will have to tweet back to Stephanie and see if she can hook us up with
That's
some.
a great
I bet
design.
She can do that. It is. It's cool.
That's a better design than we came up with, which was essentially a stick figure with a cracked bat over its head, which was original and kind of had that Mr. Bill look to it. But see the shift
And
for LaRoche.
once they found out I couldn't write a backwards K, I had nothing to do with it.
That's a strike. Sanchez facing LaRoche with Ian Desmond and Rick Ankiel also due up for the Nationals. Down he goes.
But the consistency of Anibal Sanchez this year has been just tremendous. You go back to his last outing, probably his worst outing of the year, but as you pointed out, it was really in that latter inning. Early on, he pitched extremely well, but prior to that, he had 6 consecutive outings of 7 innings. And a couple more outs here, he'll make it through 7. This might be his last inning. We'll just have to see.
Ian Desmond up, and he takes outside. Well, remember, it was 1-1 in the 6th inning when Sanchez was dueling with, I believe it was Ryan Vogelsong. And remember, Sanchez made that great stop on the comebacker and had Gregor Blanco hung up in the rundown, and the Marlins didn't get that out at third. It would have been the 2nd out of the inning, and you know the rest. The Giants went on to get some big hits. I think Angel Pagan drove in 2 with an extra base hit. And that was it for Sanchez in that ball game. He ended up giving up 5 runs in the 5 1/3. The 1-1. Ground ball hit well into center field. And Desmond busting it around first. Peterson picks it up. Nationals have a 1-out hit. Desmond has 2 singles in this game. 2 of 3 hits for Washington.
One thing hitters are realizing in this ballpark.
Good pitching matchup tomorrow, by the way. Wong and Johnson.
Yeah, it'll be Wong's first start of the year. He worked the game out of the bullpen the other day. But hitters are realizing, because outfielders are so deep here, when they get a base hit that's just a single, you've got to get out of the box, take a big turn. If there's any kind of miscue or mishandle in the outfield, you have to be in scoring position.
We saw that yesterday afternoon, late in the game, in the Reyes run, so to speak, on a bloop that fell in front of the center fielder, Rick Ankiel. Jose Reyes never stopped. He got to second for a double, just got in under the tag, and then he raced to third on a ground ball to Ryan Zimmerman when Zimmerman threw across the diamond and scored on a sacrifice fly. Desmond a threat to run. Remember, he stole second early in the game. That's a roller up the middle. Infante feeds Reyes, the relay in time. And he had to leap over the sliding Ian Desmond to turn the double play. Jose Reyes just tremendous at short. 4-6-3, still 1-1. A tailor-made double play, slow enough that Ian Desmond had a good running start at Jose Reyes. But Reyes got up and over him. Here's a look.
Watch the slide. Reyes doesn't really have a chance. He's kind of flat-footed as Desmond comes in with the hard slide and then just leaps in the air and makes a strong enough throw. It's hard to get something on the ball when you're leaping the way Reyes did there. That is great to see.
Edwin Jackson, Anibal Sanchez have been dominant. And it's been fun to watch. Marlins go to work the bottom third of the order. There's Steve Cishek. And since Sanchez is due up third, there's a good likelihood that the Marlins would lift him. He's at 101 pitches.
The last couple of innings, he's been able to minimize the pitches.
Jackson is at 81 pitches. But he had a long inning in the sixth. A couple doubles and a walk. Marlins got their first run, and here's Buck. Buck has bounced to short and bounced to second. He barreled up a line drive to left and a line drive to right that went foul in his first at bat. For John right now, he's searching for any positives he can find at the plate. And it's out of play.
For Edwin Jackson, he's due up third when the Nationals hit the top of the eighth. 4 straight years for Jackson with 10 or more wins. He's been a solid starter, a consistent pitcher. He's always been a guy that rotations want to have. But he comes into this game 61 and 62. So he could fall into that category, Rich, as the guy you stay close to, you have a chance to beat.
That's amazing. A guy that has been so coveted by teams in trades is a game under 500. His career ERA is 4.41. 1-2 to Buck. Breaking ball is out.
On the other hand, they could be saying the same of Anibal Sanchez, who came into this game 41 and 41 in his career.
Got a few tweets from Section 308 wanting some FaceTime. Jealous of camera 12. Strike 3 call. Buck didn't like it. He thought it was up. And Ozzie Guillen shaking his head at home plate umpire Dan Iasonia.
For the most part, Iasonia's had a pretty good game. That appears to be high. I'm not sure where it'll be on Fox Tracks. It's close. It's a high strike, but it's a strike that's not called often.
Coghlan now with Dobbs on deck. Jackson misses down low. And that's the hard part about not having the depth on the bench, is you'd like to use a guy like Dobbs when the game's in the balance. And it may be that Dobbs is on deck and would hit only if Coghlan gets on base.
It's a tough call. You know if you use Dobbs, though, you're going to get him against a right-handed pitcher. And if you wait, it's always a decision a manager has to make. If you wait down the road, you know they have the lefty Sean Burnett down there.
And that's why I think you've got Donovan
But
Solano.
I agree. I think if nobody's on base and they're 2 out, you don't use Greg Dobbs.
Yeah, that's why a guy like Solano is down there. If Coghlan were to make an out and there's nobody aboard, you're saving Dobbs for the 8th or the 9th inning.
But if Coghlan's on base, we see Dobbs.
Yes. Marlins are hopeful that Austin Kearns is back after his 14 days are up. He's about, 8 days away, I think. up the middle, into center field. That's a base hit, and Coghlan around first. And it looks like we will see Greg Dobbs. That went right between the legs of Edwin Jackson.
He's probably upset that he didn't make the play or at least knock it down. Fastball down. He actually is reaching one way and it comes between his legs. The 1-out base hit, and that does bring Dobbs up.
So here is Dobbs in the bottom of the 7th.
Boy, and here comes Steve McCatty, it looks like, the Nationals pitching coach. Quick review of Dobbs' scouting report, possibly.
It wouldn't be a Marlins Nationals game, and it really didn't feel like one the other day.
We didn't see him yesterday.
Tyler Clippard without his running mate Drew Storen for the time being.
Yeah, right now the key guys in that bullpen are Tyler Clippard and Sean Burnett, the left-hander. We saw Henry Rodriguez yesterday. He's kind of lost his closer role.
The Nationals are hopeful that Storen is back another month or so, and it sounds like Michael Morse. That ball gets away, and Coghlan may get to third. Around second, headed for third. He's gonna get there. Wow!
Wow, I'm sure that's not what McCatty told him to do. But what an opportunity. What a break for the Marlins. And if Adam LaRoche can't get it, you know it was an errant throw. Good job by Coghlan. Good turn at second. He picked up his third base coach right away.
Coghlan, one of those talented athletes that can blow a bubble and run the bases at the same time.
Yeah. Don't try that at home unless you're a professional.
Dobbs with the infield in. He has yet to see a pitch from Edwin Jackson. Look at that for Dobbs. 4 times he's been in this spot. He's delivered all 4 times. Fly ball, left field. Brown sets. Coghlan tags. He comes home and he scores. 5 of 5 is Dobbs delivering runners from third.
What a strong throwing arm from Corey Brown in left field. He looked like he was a little off balance and there wouldn't be a strong throw to the plate. So Dobbs can go ahead and thank Chris Coghlan for his speed, getting a good jump from third on a nice throw from Corey Brown, the left fielder. But Dobbs 5 for 5, launches it, gets it just deep enough, and the Marlins capitalize on that error by Jackson.
Brown is a center fielder. He can play all outfield spots, and Coghlan just got in there. Nationals are going to appeal third, and the appeal denied.
How about some of the little things over the last 4 or 5 days Chris Coghlan has done? He hit the home run, that's not a little thing, against Lincecum. He had the sac fly. He had the terrific catch on that ball yesterday. He gets a key base hit here and then scores on that sac fly from Dobbs.
That's why you got to tune in early, Tommy, and watch Marlins Live, because we chronicled Coghlan's last few days and the fact that he has helped the fish in the bottom of the order. There is no secret that the bottom of the order, especially since the injury to Emilio Bonifacio, has been struggling. Bonifacio, once he got moved down to the 7th spot, had come back to life with the bat and with his legs. That's a laser in the left, a base hit from Reyes.
Yeah, he had brought that part of the order back to life.
So maybe it's Coghlan who's able to do the same until Bonifacio gets back in a month.
The hit streak continues now for Jose Reyes. Nice solid swing. That's a beauty. Don't think Reyes is going to hang around first base too long either.
Davey Johnson's going to make a double switch. Greg Dobbs a sacrifice fly. Chris Coghlan scoring. Coghlan starting things with the single, then the throwing error by Edwin Jackson, and the Marlins hung around and stayed close to Jackson, and he'll leave the ball game with Miami on top, 2-1. Pitching change, we step aside. In Miami, the Fish up a run. Trying to chase down the Nationals in the East. Roger Bernardina comes in the ball game, and he's in right field. Sliding over to center is Bryce Harper. Rick Ankiel comes out of the game, and Craig Stammen is now pitching for the Washington Nationals.
Yeah, he's placed in the Ankiel spot in the batting order. Bernardina hits 9. Stammen with good fastballs and sliders, mixing a curveball.
Reyes is chased back.
As we pointed out, you would expect, with 2 out, you would expect Reyes to, early in the count, first, second, third pitch, try to take off and steal second.
Stammen ready, quick to the plate, and he misses down low. It's 1-0. 25,969. The attendance tonight. And they've seen a real good one, a pitcher's duel. Edwin Jackson, Anibal Sanchez. Reyes increases the lead. And Stammen catches the corner on Infante.
You have a feeling, Rich, these two teams are going to match up this way all year. The 2 games in Washington, the Marlins lost, but 2-0 and 3-2. And then a 5-3 win last night.
2-1 game here. Reyes inching further away. Stammen is quick to the plate and looks like he's getting to the plate faster than Edwin Jackson was. We will get back into the emails and tweets when the game gets going. We have a tendency to step away from that. Reyes is running. Infante, a one-hopper that Stammen lobs over to first in time. But the Marlins get a run and take a 2-1 lead to the 8th.
A great view of the game. Come on out here. This is about as far as away as you can get at this ballpark. 502 feet in seats, right over the center fielders, the home plate area. You get a great view. These guys where are your normal seats?
We're behind home base.
And you came out here?
Yep. Best seat in the house right here.
How surprised. These guys actually you're from D.C., but you're Marlin fans.
Yeah. We decided to come to Miami to see this game. We saw a Heat game last night. We wanted to kind of see what locals do, and this is actually, I think, the best place to see the game. See how fast the ball's going. You get to see the players kind of communicate. It's actually a great seat. So
it is similar to the vantage point of our directly over the center field shot that we have here on Marlins gates, but you're overhanging a little bit, and you don't feel like you're 500 feet away, do you?
Not at all. I feel on top of the field. Yeah, like right there with the players.
Were you surprised at the view from this spot?
Actually, yeah. I think if I had to come here again, from D.C., I'd do the same spot.
Maybe not pay the money for those seats.
That's right.
All right. Well, he works for Congress, so they spend a little extra money sometimes.
That's right. Yeah. You got to save a dollar where you can.
Well, you should take that advice.
Yeah, the government too.
The government. All right, let's get back to the game. Really, guys, come on out. It's a great view. Not now, but some other time.
All right, we'll put that on the bucket list. Some changes to talk about. You saw Randy Choate in the ball game, and Xavier Nady, the veteran right-handed bat, is in, and he smacks one into right field, a base hit. Nady, who's been with a lot of clubs, finding life with the Nationals and giving life to Washington with a leadoff single in a one-run game in the 8th against Randy Choate.
Well, once Ozzie made that move, he had Cishek warming up. He's still warming and loose, I'm sure, by now. But once Ozzie made the move to the left-hander, that's when Davey Johnson pinch hit Nady.
So Nady's at first. Now you've got Maldonado, who is 0 for 9 this year. The pitcher spot, or rather Bernardina, is on deck. Wouldn't be surprised if Maldonado squares, and he does. You don't often play for the tie on the road, but Maldonado has struggled so much at the plate.
And does not run well and is subject to a double play if he hits a ball on the ground at an infielder.
If the Marlins bullpen can deliver this and get the win, it would be Anibal Sanchez win. He went 7 innings, 3 hits, a run. It was unearned, a walk and 5 strikeouts. Sanchez ERA is down to 2.56. There's the bunt. Choate has it, turns and fires to first with Morrison covering. So Nady is in scoring position, and now Bernardina was the hitter, but Danny Espinosa has a bat, and now he's coming up. He's a switch hitter. Espinoza, if you look at the numbers, however, right-handed, much better than left-handed, and that means it's Steve Cishek time. Espinoza 180 from the right side, 333 from the right side.
Yep, the wheels are turning in both dugouts.
And the Nationals are burning through their bench pretty quickly here. 2-1, Miami. Chevron presents the starting pitchers. Chin-Ming Wong, Josh Johnson matchup. And JJ looking for win number 3. That's tomorrow, 6:34. Marlins Live. A lot of things going on right now in both dugouts. You've got Steve Cishek in. That's going to flip Espinoza to his weaker side. The problem being that the guy behind him, Steve Lombardozzi, is the exact opposite. He's better from the left than he is from the right.
Yeah, a ton of things. And then Ozzie also, if you look beyond Lombardozzi, you have Bryce Harper, the young left-handed hitter that, yeah, would be a great matchup if you had Choate in there, but that won't be the case. So you're always, as a manager, looking ahead 2, 3, 4 hitters to think about moves.
First pick from Cishek. Mitch is up. Espinoza, an 0 for 4 yesterday. Lombardozzi's on deck. Xavier Nady is the runner at second in a 1-run game. And Cishek falls behind 2-0. Marlins have put Cishek in a variety of spots. Long relief. 7th, 8th inning. 9th inning. He's closed games. And he misses outside, and it's 3-0. Nationals had a 1-0 lead. After 5, the Marlins getting single runs in the 6th and the 7th. He walked him on 4 pitches. He's going to face another switch hitter.
Really didn't come close on all of his pitches. You can see on Fox Tracks. So right now, Steve Cishek needs to get himself in that zone and make some quality pitches.
Lombardozzi has pulled 3 ground balls to So Omar Infante at second base tonight. He had 3 hits in yesterday's ball game. And John Buck is out to talk to Cishek, who has yet to throw a strike in the 5 pitches that he's thrown. See the gray hairs in Ozzy's beard. There may be a few more before this inning's done. But Cishek is a youngster that has shown he's able to pitch and has been able to pitch in pressure spots. He's just 25, a Massachusetts kid. It's his 3rd year in the big leagues.
Yeah, I think the experience he got early in the season should help him in situations like this.
There's a strike.
And you pointed it out. He's really served a lot of different roles.
Nady is the runner at second. You can see Espinoza away from first. Lombardozzi waiting on the 1-1. And now it's 2-1. I told you that Lombardozzi better, and you see Harper looming on deck. Lombardozzi better from this side of the plate in his switch hitting splits this year. Left-handed 372, right-handed 111. And Cishek is all over the place.
Yeah, he is. That's always one of the things a manager has to deal with when he calls in that reliever. You know, a starter, he can start a game, maybe not be there, and he'll have time to work out of it. A reliever, he has no time.
3-1. Bryce Harper is on deck. Lost him. They are loaded. Now we'll see if the Marlins try to stall for time to get somebody loose. Randy St. Clair is on his way out, and the bullpen is scrambling.
I'm sure Dan Jennings is one of the guys trying to get ready quickly. Ryan Webb also. But Jennings, more importantly, because Bryce Harper, the young lefty, is due up now. But Jennings just got up, so I don't know if he can get ready in that quick a time.
Randy St. Clair going to stay out there as long as he can.
He's going to stay out there until the home plate umpire comes out and tells him to leave.
Home plate umpire arrives, and they break it up.
And a tough guy to double up. We've seen Harper run the bases. They're the 2 warming up, Webb and Jennings, righty and lefty. And I'm sure with a 1-run lead, the infield will play back. They'll think double play. But bases loaded and a tough guy to double up in Harper. And that guy, Ryan Zimmerman, on deck.
Infield back for 2. Cishek to Harper. Fastball cut on and fouled off. Oh, 0-1. His triple was to center field and probably traveled about 410 feet. 0-1 pitch. Same spot, and it's 0-2.
A couple of good fastballs really gotten in on Bryce Harper.
Remember, Nady, a pinch hit single to open the inning. He was sacrificed up. Cishek walked Espinoza on 4 pitches. Walked Lombardozzi on 5 pitches. He's 0-2 on 19-year-old Bryce Harper. Got him with a fastball. Elevated the fastball. And there are 2 outs.
Doesn't get any bigger than that. Crowd was into it. They wanted to see the strikeout, and they did. Here comes the high heat, and Harper couldn't lay off of it.
Well, they better stay into it, because the guy that stands in has always made it on the all-time Marlin killer team list, and that is Ryan Zimmerman. Bags loaded, 2 outs, Cishek and Zimmerman in a 1-run game in Miami tonight. Breaking ball just missed. And it's 1-0. And I mean just missed. Zimmerman is 0 for 3. He was 1 for 4 with an RBI double. One of those grand slams came at, what, 1:45 in the morning in D.C. against the Marlins. I want to say on Mother's Day morning. And then he won the next game, which was later that day at RFK Stadium with a walk-off hit.
Well, he's hit 14 career home runs against the Marlins, and his average is over 300.
And he hasn't lifted the bat yet. Here's a 2-0 pitch coming. That's right down the middle. Cishek gets a strike. This crowd is anxious. Maybe not as much as Ozzie Guillen. Watching his young reliever try to protect a 1-run lead. At the top of the 8th against the dangerous Ryan Zimmerman. 2-2.
Crowd will get back on their feet. They'll get into this next pitch too. This is what this ball club has not had for a long time at home.
2-2 to Zimmerman. 2 outs. Ground ball. Hanley has it to the bag, and Cishek gets out of it. A broken back ground ball. It's still 2-1 Miami. With a runner at second and 1 out, walked a couple to load the bases, struck out Bryce Harper, and then gets Zimmerman on this pitch.
Well, Hanley said, I'm not going to throw this ball anywhere. I'm going to beat the runner to third base. Great job by Cishek. A great recovery after he walked the first 2 hitters he faced.
Hanley Ramirez, Giancarlo Stanton, and Logan Morrison. Craig Stammen is still in there. Will reset the Washington defense, which has undergone a bit of a makeover after that last half inning. Hanley left field! Get out of here! It's 3-1!
Loviste! throwing in fuego in there too with Hanley Ramirez, the way he's swinging the bat. Oh, don't make a mistake to Hanley. Fastball tailed in, belt high. He belted it.
A double and a homer for Hanley in this one. He had 3 hits yesterday. And a Clevelander pool home run. I know it didn't go in the pool, but it went over the Clevelander.
That is Hanley's 26th career home run against the Nationals. He's now 9 for 16 with 2 home runs against Craig Stammen.
Stanton breaks his bat and dumps that one into left center field. Giancarlo with his second hit of the night.
Even when you jam, Stanton may have gotten that on the end of the bat. He's so strong. He can get it into the outfield. Most guys that hit that ball, the shortstop's coming in to make the play.
The bat ended up a couple rows over the dugout. And right now, they're checking to make sure that everybody is all right. We will do that as well. Nationals make a pitching change. 3-1 Miami. Nationals. Hanley Ramirez with a solo shot. Hanley's 8th homer of the season has stretched the lead to 2. Wellington's Sean Burnett is into the ball game.
Well, he's found a real nice home working out of the bullpen for the Nationals. Look at the ERA. Lots of strikeouts, 17 in his 13 2/3. Really nasty on left-handers, herky-jerky. The delivery is tough. The breaking ball.
Here's Morrison now. And he takes a fastball that is in. Our Cholula spotlight player, Morrison, yesterday a homer and a double. 50th double of his career. I know, Tommy, when the game gets tight, and it has been certainly for the last 2 innings, we stray from the email bag. Stanton's running on the pitch, and he's going to steal second easily. So Giancarlo with his 3rd stolen base. Running with a little more frequency now that the legs are under him.
Yeah, legs are feeling good. He got a nice jump and a little bobble by Maldonado, the catcher, so no play at all.
One pitch. Morrison takes outside. We have a tweet from Priscilla that says Thanks for putting me on TV while I was dancing. It's very embarrassing. Now my phone won't shut up. And that is Priscilla. But she's not dancing right now. She looks glum, almost like she's a Nationals fan.
Yeah, she should be happy right now. You see Stanton steal a base, and you wonder about his potential in that area. I think he could steal 15, 20 bases, but you don't want to chance it a lot because you want his lower half to stay healthy.
See what he gets, 2-2. Breaking ball, and he hits it in the air to right center. Harper steps in front of Nady. You got the 19-year-old and Nady, the veteran. Harper does have a better throwing arm than Nady.
In that case, that's the guy you want to take that fly ball.
Heath Bell is up. And so are the Marlins. 3-1. And here's Peterson. Stanton out at second. And a strike.
You can see by Burnett's delivery, he has that cross the body delivery. It almost looks like he's stepping toward the first baseline when he delivers.
Jay Weiss tweets in, what about the catch the fan made on Hanley's homer? Let's take a look. You ask, we look. Nice catch. Looks like he's got one of those military caps, Tom.
Got the new Marlins cap. He's got it all going.
Peterson takes a strike. Giancarlo out at second. Peterson awaits. And Peterson strikes out. You saw that fan that had the cap on yesterday, Memorial Day. The caps that the players are wearing on both sides are a little different this year. We have one from the Marlins team store. This is the red-orange, but you see the camo logo in there. And this is a fine item that is now available in the Marlins team store. There it is. The Marlins will wear these on 4th of July and on 9/11 as well.
That's good presentation, Rich.
Thank you.
Nicely done.
Well, the Marlins want to get this run home. John Buck may have to do it himself. Burnett bounces one in the dirt. I'm not contractually obligated to say it, but if you're around downtown during the day, the Marlins team store at Marlins Ballpark is open. From morning all the way through game time and during the game as well. And there's a team store inside the ballpark as well, right behind home plate on the concourse level. That's where Ozzie shops.
They're going to go after the left-handed bat of Chris Coghlan.
Boy, John Buck, and if you're a Marlin fan, you know how mightily he's been struggling. Buck has won for his last 33 with 14 strikeouts. And yet he's intentionally walked here to get that lefty-lefty matchup.
Well, you think back to Chris Coughlin's rookie season. Those last 2 months, it didn't matter. Lefties, righties. He stayed back. He hit line drive after line drive into left field. Many off left-handed pitching.
Coughlin takes a breaking ball for ball 1. There's a strike. Sydney and Royal Palm Beach agreeing with Tommy Hutton. Isn't it incredible to actually have a home field advantage?
Here, here, Sydney.
Two and one now.
I'm sure this place will be rocking when the Red Sox are in town. There'll be Red Sox Nation here, but you'd love to see a whole lot of Marlins fans too.
The month of June is filled with great opponents. The Rays may be the best of those opponents. Coughlin fouls it back. You got the Rays in, the Red Sox in, the Braves are in, the Jays are in.
Right now, Rich, the Rays going into play tonight tied with Baltimore atop that American League East.
St. Louis is in. Struck him out. Coughlin doesn't like the call, and you can hear him barking at Dan Iassogna. Hanley Ramirez, with his 8th homer of the year, gives the Marlins an insurance run, and Heath Bell will try to protect a 3-1 lead. Again, and there she is.
She's at least got a smile now.
I think that's Priscilla. 3-1 Miami. It's the 9th. Let's hope that she's dancing in the next 10 minutes. Toyota Trend. Miami 9-2 when they've hit multiple home runs. 5-1 at Marlins Park.
Well, incredible. Hanley Ramirez now, as I mentioned, a couple of home runs against Craig Stammen, 9 for 16 in his career, number 26 in his career against the Nationals.
And of course, a story that has been the lead story, the subplot, and something that the Marlins have been able to work around in what has been a record-setting month of May, and that is Heath Bell. And here is Bell now. The shift is on for Adam LaRoche. Ian Desmond, pitcher spot for the Nationals. Breaking ball, drops in for a strike.
And a win here would establish an all-time Marlins record for most wins in any month.
Ozzie Guillen directing his defense. The shift along with Hanley now over in the shortstop spot. Bell comes in with a fastball at 95. There's the shift.
I think the key right there was the fact that he dropped that breaking ball in for strike one.
Ball and a strike. Bell finished yesterday's ball game. Change-up. We haven't seen a lot of that from Heath Bell.
Yeah, the last couple of outings, he's shown it a little bit more.
That's a nice pitch.
It really gives a hitter, especially off a hard-throwing closer, it gives a hitter something else to think about.
1-2 coming. There's the fastball, 96, and it's 2-2. Roche, a very good first half, bucking the trend of his career, and that's been a nice addition for a Nationals team that has been built around pitching. Right down the middle, Heath Bell strikes out Adam LaRoche.
Yeah, some real good giddy up on the fastball. We saw 96 during that at bat. We saw a great changeup, and we saw him start him with a nice curveball. Good stuff.
So Bell now gets Ian Desmond. He's 2 for 3 on a night where the Nationals have just 4 hits. There's strike one. Jonathan Solano. That's Donovan Solano's older brother, is on deck. And this would be his first at bat in the big leagues. Bell's throwing hard, 96, and throwing well. And it's 0-2. There's mom and dad with their 2 sons here tonight. Desmond climbs back in. Bell ready. 0-2 pitch. Heard Ozzie Guillen today on 790 talking about using Heath Bell and the decisions that he has made. And he said, look, the only way to get a closer back into closing is to throw him out there and let him close. The 0-2. Got him! He has struck out a pair. And Guillen went on to say the easy way to manage is when everybody is hitting and all your pitchers are throwing strikes. You get paid to manage when you have to get guys out of slumps, whether they be at the plate or on the mound.
I guess the easy way to say it is you get paid to manage when you have to manage. This also tells you a little bit with Jonathan Solano pinch hitting here. Tells you a little bit about Jesus Flores.
Yeah, that hamstring isn't.
He's not ready
to go. So the major league debut of Solano, and he takes a fastball for a strike. He is only the 13th Colombian to get to the major leagues. The 12th is his brother, who is sitting in the Marlins dugout, and he made his debut just a few days ago. And Bell right now is just gobbling up strikes. Boy, that's it.
as a parent. Now, Mom's got the Marlins jersey on. Dad's got the Nationals jersey on. Mom is cheering. Dad is bummed that it's 0-2. They told us tomorrow they're going to switch jerseys. Bell is ready. His 0-2. Lined into right field. It's a base hit. And into the corner. Solano on his way to second. And Jonathan Solano in his first major league at bat doubles off of Heath Bell.
Well, we saw Donovan, his older brother, get a base hit his first at bat in the big leagues. Older brother 4 for 8 now. And the high fastball, he stayed on it. Got himself a memory that he'll always have. Now all of a sudden the tying run comes to the plate. Enough of all the cherished memories.
And the tying run is Xavier Nady. Nady delivered a pinch hit single in the 8th. Stayed in the ball game, and here he is facing Heath Bell. Fastball, line to right. Stanton in there, makes the catch, almost overran it. Ball game. This one is over. Bell saves it, and the Marlins get a little closer to first place. They've taken down the Nationals in the first 2 of this 3-game series. And Dancing Girl is happy after all. The Marlins win it and are now a game and a half out of first place behind the Nationals. And Heath Bell has saved both games.
While watching Giancarlo in right field, I wasn't sure he picked this ball up right, but he was able to stay with it and make the catch on the final out. The ball was hit well by Nady.